Yeah, how do you know that this person is someone that you want to marry?
It's like, oh, how does that person make me feel? How do they fit in my box of expectations?
Yeah, it's
You're not actually like trying to get to know the person. Be like, oh, is this someone I could build a life with?
Do you fit those boxes? Because you're a mirror of what you're attracting. Yeah, this person's a great candidate for dating. Because if you're saying this is a good candidate for dating, it means you're saying they're a good candidate to be married to.
Mm-hmm.
And so why don't you guys fill us in?
I basically was like, hey, Michael, like, this can't be a thing right now. I have to give, like, full devotion to the Lord in this season. So insecure, like, I was so insecure and I needed attention from guys and all of these things that, like, a lot of women struggle with. But I really wanted to fix all that stuff. And I knew I needed to.
All right, so we are so excited. We have our son, Michael, our firstborn, and we have his beautiful wife, Hannah. They've been married for 5 years, and we want to start with getting to know. By the way, they have 3 beautiful boys. Love the little guys. It's a handful for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always chaos. It's good chaos. It's not bad chaos,
Sure.
but it's fun chaos too.
Yeah.
They were actually over our house yesterday and little wrestling. They want to wrestle. They want to punch me.
Classic boys.
So why don't we start with tell a little bit your story. How'd you guys get to know each other, and then fill us in because today we're gonna be talking about marriage, engagement, and then into marriage because you guys been married 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so why don't you guys fill us in?
Yeah. So pretty much we were actually in a YWAM DTS. She was doing her YWAM DTS, which is like a Bible school. It teaches you missions, how to preach the gospel. You go through different topics and all that stuff. And she was in her DTS. And I wasn't in the DTS. I was just around the YWAM base. I was friends with all the people on staff. So I was always there because I was homeschooled. So I had way more free time than everybody. And in her first week, I was like, oh, dang, she looks pretty. Like, that. I wonder who that girl is. And then, long story short, she did her DTS. She was interested in me as well. But she came back from outreach. And you can say a little bit of this part of your story where you can go into it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I did DTS, and me and Michael liked each other during that time. And yeah, we were definitely like talking when we shouldn't have been and all the stuff.
There are
But
rules on DTS.
Yeah.
And they violated.
it's true, we violated a lot of rules, so I don't recommend that. But I would say going into DTS, I was like freshly saved. So I had just come out of a relationship, hadn't really worked through like the hard things that I had already gone through. And so I was pretty fresh. And so first like week we like noticed each other and I'm like, oh, I kind of like him. He loves Jesus. My past relationship was not good. And I was like, oh, he like clearly loves Jesus, like praying in the prayer room, you know, all the things that girls say. They're like, so I noticed him, and then kind of like we started like each other throughout the DTS. But then when I went on outreach, I realized like, dang, like I have a lot of hard things that I need to work through. And
Where did you go? To the Philippines?
I went to the Philippines. Yes. I went to the Philippines, and while I was in the Philippines,
And outreach, for anyone who doesn't know, that's just a
Yeah.
2 to 3 month mission trip.
yeah, it's just a mission trip. And so I was in the Philippines on a mission trip, and I just like stuff was coming up, and I started realizing like, oh, I'm like, I got back from outreach and realized, okay, I'm not ready for a relationship clearly because of all the things that were kind of coming up in my own life. And so then I basically was like, hey, Michael, like this can't be a thing right now. I have to give like full devotion to the Lord in this season. And so I went like a full year. I like committed to the Lord. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a full year and really like get myself ready for, I mean, potentially marriage in the future, obviously, but also just so that I wasn't so insecure. Like I was so insecure and I needed attention from guys and all of these things that like a lot of women struggle with. But I really wanted to fix all that stuff. And I knew I needed to. And so I did a full year of no relationship with guys. I wouldn't even talk to guys. I was really weird, awkward, but I felt like that was what the Lord was asking me to do. And so I did it. And then you can...
Well, yeah, I can tell the rest of the story. And so actually, I knew she was doing this year with the Lord. I didn't know when it started. All I knew is she was doing it for a year. And then actually,
And you were just a little guy.
Yeah, I was 17. And so fast forward a whole year, I did my DTS. I came back from outreach, and actually me and Dad were at the gym, and we were walking around the track after a set,
And we hadn't been talking.
and we
this
hadn't been
time.
talking for like a year.
Yeah.
And so then Dad goes, "Hey, do you still like that girl, Hannah?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I still am interested in her." And fully not my idea at all. He's like, "Hey, well, how about we go to a movie tonight with her with our family?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." Like,
great.
I was like, "Sounds good." And so then I think I texted you. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, would you like to go to a movie with my family tonight?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I'll come." And so then I went and picked her up with Bella, my sister. It was super awkward.
We were so weird.
We were so awkward. And
Miss Capella was there.
and then fast forward a little bit, we dated for like a year and a half. We were engaged for
But like
almost a
also
year.
with like the movie, the day that they asked me to
Oh, right,
go
I
to the
forgot about
movie
that.
was literally the day my 1 year ended, and he didn't even know. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
keeping track or anything.
Wow.
No,
I don't
she
think I
te-
knew that.
she
Isn't
actually
that it was
texted me
crazy?
after, and I was like, "Oh, thanks for coming to the movie." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't have even have said yes if it wasn't the end of my year, and it happened to be that day, and it wasn't even like my idea." I didn't even know when it ended or anything, so
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh wow, that's like
It was
crazy."
pretty cool.
And so yeah, fast forward a little bit, we dated a year and a half.
Yeah, we were
Um,
like intentional friends for like
Yeah, we got to know each
a
other
bit.
for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
And then we dated for a little over a year. And then I
Yeah.
proposed actually in Kansas City. And we were engaged for like 8 or 9 months. COVID kind of pushed our wedding date
Yes.
back a bunch of times. But yeah,
Kind of rough though.
yeah,
It
was.
a
COVID
rough
was terrible.
process
But yeah,
Because it went from a pretty big wedding, couple hundred people.
to like
To
pretty
50.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hey, it was
true.
You were
cheaper.
wearing masks.
It was
We saved
cheaper.
a lot
It
of
was
money. We
cheaper.
didn't wear
You were
masks.
just happy to get married at that point. 'cause-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like we don't care what it looks
Doesn't
like.
matter
Let's just
when.
get married.
I don't care.
Yeah, there were even people around here that had nobody at their wedding night.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
'cause
true.
of some of the
I knew people
restrictions.
getting married
We
in
had
the
it
side
good,
room of
actually.
our apartment building. And I was
Yeah.
like, dang, bro.
Well,
But yeah.
Well, tell me more. So it's just interesting to me how it sounds like there was a trust journey in your guys' relationship with the Lord too.
Yeah.
And what I actually just came to mind hearing you say this, because obviously I know your story, but I didn't realize that one little piece about you had said to the Lord, "Hey, I'm giving you this year." When we always joke because a lot of people when they're dating, if a girl's not interested in a guy, should be like, "I'm giving Jesus
Yeah.
time."
Yeah, it's so
I'm
true.
Jesus," and
It's
they
like an
kinda-
excuse and out.
Yeah,
But if she is interested,
she's not doing
she
that.
is not doing
She
it.
ain't
Her
giving
year's
a year.
over.
Yeah.
So it's not very often that you hear that's actually sincere. But so I just think that's kind of cool, like how you allowed God to mold your journey. And even for
Yeah.
us as parents watching you guys, here Michael tells us, I have this girl and we knew some of your past and here's our oldest son. And we're like nervous, like, oh my gosh, like, does this girl really love the Lord? Who is she?
Yeah.
Well, just for context, she was literally dating a Satanist like before.
Yeah, it was
Like,
really
actually.
bad. Like I was definitely not looking for the Lord.
but it's, I think to me, it's like, is your past actually your past? Like, it's not
Right.
about having a past. It's like, is it actually in the past?
Right.
And a lot of people keep their past.
And is your past a part of your present?
Yeah.
Right.
They keep it in their present in little measures even. Or
It's
just
true.
they have like this kind of nostalgia about certain things and they want, just gonna keep a little dabble of
Yeah.
this and dabble of that. And so when we were trying to decide like because we're really involved in the dating process of our kids and this was the first time around. So I think we're a little more intense maybe than we
Yeah,
were
I was
with
having
It's
you
probably
kid.
good though.
because you're the trial child.
Yeah.
But we
You got
really
expect more. You got. No, I'm just kidding.
Had more chaperones.
No, he didn't.
Probably second most.
He
second
did
most.
yeah, but you got something you didn't really need. Is probably what you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, because you're just nervous that you're going to do it wrong.
No, 100%.
But I think for us, like even asking the Lord, like it was a trust journey for you, and
Yeah.
because you really wanted Him, and we were asking people around because it's one of the things we recommend is like, hey, like let's find the reputation of a person by, what people say of them.
Mhm.
And so we'd ask about you, and people would be
good.
like, I had one staff member say to me, in that season, she's like, all these girls that have known the Lord a long time, and some of them haven't. Hannah is the most hungry for Jesus of all of them. And I was like watching you, and I was like, she actually is. Like she's actively growing and changing. And that right there is a formula for really fast growth and really solid root system. So
Also, in the dating season for you guys, we don't really push different things when it comes to like physical boundaries, impurity things.
Right.
We make suggestions, and we like, I know I had these type of conversations with you, but you made your own decisions on what you wanted to do, and we do, because we have sons that are already married, 3 sons. I would bring up, hey, these are the types of relationships as far as physical boundaries that you can have. You need to actually set the tone for your relationship, what you guys are going to allow. I would say that to the guy. I think the girls, now that I also have a daughter, but I like it to be led by the guy no matter what, because it sets the tone, even in empowering him to lead. So, Michael,
Yeah.
you actually made decisions for these types of things that you wanted, and then you talked to Hannah about it. I want you to just break down what your thought process is. What did you do?
Well, there were boundaries that you set.
Yeah, so pretty much, because obviously I knew Hannah's testimony, I knew like a little bit of her past, and so I was like, okay, well, how can we go through this dating season like as purely as possible? And so I was like, okay, well, I've never kissed anyone, and I feel like it would be harder to pedal backwards, if that makes sense, if I did kiss her than if I just waited until my wedding day. And so then I was like, okay, well, what if we just don't kiss until our wedding day? And I was like, that seems like the easiest thing to do, because then you don't open up the can of worms, and
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
so
stuff a
true.
little bit easier. So that was really just the thought process behind it. So
Because I
we,
remember asking you guys, like, hey, because what do you think your boundaries should be?
Yeah, you guys like met with us.
Yeah,
I remember.
and that's usually what we do, so that it's a decision on your end, and we don't have to enforce it. You know,
right.
Yeah.
just
I like that. Yeah.
And so yeah, you came back.
Oh, so
with
we
that.
talked to both of you guys.
Yeah, you like brought us out to dinner, I think, and you were
I don't
like,
even
"Hey, what
remember
are you
this.
guys?"
I don't remember either.
I remember it was like
Actually
Tony
do,
Roma's or
but-
something, and you guys were like, "So, like, what kind of boundaries are you guys wanting?" And you left it on us, which I like that, because a lot of parents are more like, "You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this." We're like, if it's something that we decide and we are like hopefully trustworthy enough to make good decisions.
What's your conviction?
Exactly, it's our conviction, then we stand to it. It's like easier to stay true to it, I think.
yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty much the thought process and how it came about.
Yeah, I think it was the smartest for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what would you tell a couple that is dating, or interested in a guy or interested in a girl, and they're looking for, and maybe this would be a little bit more slant towards girls that at least thinking about it, they're the one, or that's my soulmate, or that thought process. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit controversial, especially in some Christian communities, but I actually don't think there is such thing as a soulmate or like the one. There's a few reasons why I think that thought process in itself can actually even be like harmful. One, for the entire relationship, but also for the girl or guy who has that thought process. First reason I would say it can be harmful is you go into that relationship with like pre-done expectations, Like you go into the relationship and you're like, oh, the guy should make me feel like this. He should do this for me every day. He should, say an example, he should open the door for me every time. Like that's not a bad thing, but it is a pre-done expectation. Or even physically, this is what the guy I expect him to look like. Or as a couple, this is what we should look like. And what that does is it also just puts a lot of pressure on the other person, whether it's a
Yeah.
girl or a guy.
And they don't know it. They might know it.
Yeah.
Maybe you verbalize
Yeah.
it, but like, he has to compliment me 3 times when I walk in the room.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, it's all pre-done expectations, and what it will end up doing is it will create tension, and you as the person who has these expectations will eventually just get hurt because they're not going to meet your expectations
Yeah.
that are pre-thought of. And then you just go through your dating, engaged, marriage relationship with a bunch of fights because you have all these expectations. And then also another thing in the dating season, because I always think of the intentional friendship / dating season should be an evaluation season.
Yeah. That's good.
And so if you think this guy is the one or he's your soulmate, you're going to overlook things that could be red flags or even yellow flags or things you should bring up. Like for an example, okay, so say the guy, he's a Christian, but he doesn't actually have that much of a walk with the Lord. He doesn't really have a relationship with the Lord. You might overlook that
Right, if
because
he's the one.
he's your soulmate.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe he doesn't treat you that good, or maybe he treats his mom bad or sister bad. Eventually he's going to treat you like that, but you're going to overlook it because he's your soulmate. He's the one. And so the soulmate thinking, like thought process, I think it can be more harmful than good.
Right.
But yeah, that's like kind of how I think about it. I'd rather even just think about how God created us. We have free will to even choose God. Why wouldn't he give us free will to choose who we date or
Right.
get married to?
Well, and also a potential problem with that idea of the one. It's like the person becomes the one the second you marry them
Yeah.
because you're in
Right.
covenant with them.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people think as soon as there's relational problems in marriage, they're like, oh, this
Maybe they
must
weren't
have
the
not
one.
been the one. And then as soon as they have some kind of
Yeah.
chemistry with someone else, it's like, oh, that must have been the one, and I made a mistake. This one's the
Right.
not the one. And I think it just creates
Dangerous.
this. Yeah, it's a really dangerous idea that's built on infatuation instead of covenantal love,
Yeah.
and sacrificial love. So I agree.
Well,
with you.
and I even think like the whole thought process is actually inherently pretty selfish. You're only really thinking about yourself
Right.
in the whole process. It's like, oh, how does that person make me feel? How do they fit in my box of expectations?
Yeah, it's
You're not actually like trying to get to know the person, be like, oh, is this someone I could build a life with? Instead of just being like, oh, they're my Prince Charming. That is,
Prince
I actually think
Charming.
that even because I've had a lot of conversation with young guys, and they kind of have a list of some kind.
Mhm.
Girls do too.
Girls for sure do.
100%.
Besides the baby names, guys usually have a different list.
Yeah.
yeah,
They have a list of not necessarily expectations. They have a list of I need her to fit in this box and she needs to look like this. She needs to act like this. She needs to do this for me, or and whatnot. But actually, what I like to do when I'm talking to a guy like that, I like to turn it on them. Do you fit those boxes? Because you're a mirror of what you're attracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, are you the guy that's actually spending time with God? Are you the one that's treating people like this? Are you the one that does this? Are you that fit? Do you want
Right.
that type of fit? And if you're not looking like this, acting like this, behaving like this, and I actually try to lean them away from those types of lists
yeah,
because they're dumb.
yeah,
They're not going to meet, not one person's going to meet all those expectations.
Definitely.
Look
not.
like that, act like that. I actually like to lean first, but I like to challenge them. Do you even look like that yourself? Do you do those types of things?
Right.
I'd like to challenge them to go, no, I don't, because you are the mirror.
yeah,
Well, then let's remove that list altogether. Let's start from scratch of who you want to be,
Mhm.
because you're going to attract those things.
yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
And even I remember with a story with this, I remember I was like thinking through like, oh, what do I want in a wife? The number one thing was actually teachability, because if someone's teachable, then they can form and be like molded through the years. Because marriage is
Yeah.
you don't marry the same person 10 years later; they change so much. And so I was like the biggest thing I wanted, because even if you if you have teachability, it shows a humble person, and if you're a humble person, it just makes everything so much easier.
Sure.
And
It really does. Humility is
so
key.
much easier.
Especially
And
in
even
marriage.
like fighting and stuff, it's like when I hear like couples fighting and going through stuff, it's like the solution is just humility. Like it's really not that crazy. Like if both of you are humble, you'll get over it in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really not
Your
that
fights will
hard.
become shorter.
Actually, so true.
Like Ruth Graham says, a great marriage is two good forgivers.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Made up of those two good forgivers. And so
Right.
it takes humility to forgive.
Mhm.
It takes humility to repent. It takes humility to grow,
Yeah.
because I'm going
it's
to be
true.
constantly learning. I'm going to be constantly changing. I'm going to be taking responsibility for my actions. I'm not going to be blaming them for what they're doing or not doing. It's me. What's my part in this? That's humility.
Yeah.
And so I like what you're saying, Michael, because I totally agree. It's
Yeah, it's really good.
it's the humility that will allow the growth and the change through the years.
Yeah.
So how do you actually know that you're ready? Okay, so if you're dating somebody,
Yep.
I want to hear from your perspective. How do you actually know that you're ready to move from dating to like the next step, like getting engaged and getting
Like how
married?
do you know this is like serious relationship?
Yeah, how do you know that this person is someone that you want to marry?
Yeah. So pretty much this one I feel like gets overcomplicated a lot. One, they either think it's the soulmate thing, or they're just like, oh, maybe they're not the person. I don't want to make mistakes. And they overthink a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And really, in my mind, my brain was like pretty simple. It's like, okay, we have the same beliefs. We have a similar value system. We're going
Yeah.
in the same direction in our life. I obviously found her attractive, and I like her personality. She's probably a good candidate to get married to.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like my whole thought process. I know it brings a little more stuff when it's like, oh, do they want kids? Like if you have an example like this, it's like, okay, he wants to be a lawyer and she wants to be a missionary. Those are two very different life paths.
It's not gonna really
Because the lawyer's
match.
gonna have to live in the U.S. and stay in a court and do all the lawyer stuff, but the missionary's gonna be traveling all over. So it's like that would be harder to do. But then even like beliefs and value system. Say you're a Christian, you believe in God, all this stuff, but the guy you like is a Buddhist. Are you comfortable with your children being taught Buddhist stuff? Because that's going to be a tension point in the future. Because it's like, oh, are our kids Christian or are they Buddhist? So it's like you need to have your value system and your belief system aligned.
Yeah.
So then you can even move forward in life. And then obviously you're not always going to be doing the same things in your life. Like we were full-time missionaries when we started dating, and now we're more business. We still do ministry stuff, but now we do more business stuff. But it's more the direction. Are you guys going the same direction together? And is your value and belief system the same? That's like the main one, I would say.
And then just like when you're evaluating, because obviously dating is like he said, it's like an evaluation. Like you're evaluating that person, not in like a mean way, but like in a way that like, oh, like, do they have good character? Are they humble? Are they like, it doesn't have to be like they're the most humble person in the world, but there's little fruit that you see in their life. And even the way that they treat their friends and their relationships, what kind of music are they listening to? Like all this stuff, it actually matters. And that stuff, I mean, for me, I was thinking like whoever I marry, they're going to also be the father of my kids. And so I need them to be like a present dad. I want them to be like, want a lot of kids, all of these things. And I think some people get in a marriage and then they're like, oh, I don't want kids, but I want 10 kids. It's like, oh, well, what now? Like, who's going to win? Like, I don't know. So I think going through all that stuff's really important in asking the questions.
No, I actually think when we were dating, we like FaceTimed for the first few months. We FaceTimed every night and we literally just asked each other questions like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Probably too late.
Yeah, because they're actually those things are gonna be brought up.
Oh, 100%.
Like when, like I know a couple, we met them towards their almost engagement, almost marriage, and we were kind of long distance, but they would come around.
Yeah.
And you know, in their first year of marriage, she really didn't want to have any kids. No kids. And he wanted to start having kids.
Dang.
And so it was always a point of friction. And their goals didn't align. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. You don't want any kids, or you want to push it for 5 years later, and then you're already kind of almost 30 years old, 35 years old. When's that going to happen? You know, and he's kind of like getting antsy to have kids and stuff like that. And, you know, that is a big deal. Those are those values and desires and goals for life and even purpose, they do have to come into alignment.
Yeah.
You should be looking at the dating season, and even before that. Do I even want to be dating this person? If they don't want to have kids, you should probably push the eject button before you go, yeah, this person's a great candidate for dating. Because if you're saying this is a good candidate for dating, it means you're saying they're a good candidate to be married to.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to have these big things that are in your future that you desire, and they're not bad desires. Some desires are just dumb.
Yeah.
Like open the door for me 10 times and
that's
compliment
silly,
me 10 times. And that's just childish.
Yeah.
It's romantic comedy movies and books that have created these ideas in girls' minds. And also guys have other things that, man, is she going to be doing this for me? Is she going to be doing that for me? You know, they have different ones that are they're way less. There's like 2 things probably a guy's thinking about.
That's true.
How much sex do I get to have? She going to be walking around naked. That's about it. Cook for me. That's 3.
He wants to eat.
Simple.
That was one thing you used to say, Michael. You're like, she has to know how to cook.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I'm all right.
Actually, I cook a lot too, honestly.
But I do remember you even saying the teachability part.
Yeah.
That was a big deal for you. You wanted her to be teachable. You wanted her to want to grow. And maybe you wanted to mold her. I don't know. But
Well, if you have two headstrong people, it is hard. I mean, I know for us, like
Yeah.
we've had a lot of hard seasons and fights in marriage, but we haven't really fought about spiritual things or like beliefs and values.
Right.
Which would be crazy to fight
Imagine
over.
adding that on top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that creates a lot of tension. Like, and that's really big deal stuff. Like, even people who are both saved, like, some people have more of a view of, they like spiritual gifts and they believe more in the Holy Spirit. And then you have people who are more conservative. And even people who get married like that, there's a lot of tension
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're trying to figure out, those theological views even.
Yeah,
that
that's
can sometimes be
crazy.
really hard. So I think for us, one really great thing was just having the same values and beliefs, because just personality wise and the way you receive love and give love, those things are the other things that create
Yeah.
fights. So
Yeah,
let's
it's
have
true.
at least these main things.
Eliminate some of the
Yeah.
fights.
Yeah.
I was actually going to mention something because I was just studying this morning really briefly. I was thinking about Samson, and when you talk about the infatuation and that whole idea of the one, and the soulmate kind of idea, I was thinking about Samson, and I went and looked it up. And because Samson actually he was a guy who had a call of God in his life, right? And his mom set him apart, it says in Judges. And he went to his mom and said, I love this woman, bring her to me. And here comes this Philistine woman named Delilah, and she comes, and I went and looked up what type of love that was that he said. And it's actually the things you're talking about. It's strong emotional attachment, infatuation, and it wasn't discerned spiritually. It was how she looked and appeared to him
Right.
and made him feel. It was about his desire, how she made him feel. It was
feelings.
emotion-led, desire-based, and not aligned with God's covenant. And the root of it was connected to his own sin and weakness. And here this woman tried to assassinate him multiple times.
Multiple times.
Gotta be
And he
careful.
kept her around.
Yeah, and
Oh
she
my
stayed, and
goodness.
it's very different than the other kind of love, because I was Eros love, the other kind of love, true love that you're actually looking for. And I think this is a hang up in dating.
Yeah.
It's the difference between these two types of love that we think is love. Like, people are like, "Oh, I'm so in love with them." That's all that's all they mean. It's like an infatuation. It's desire based on my
Yeah.
weakness and sin, that this person makes me feel so attracted to them, right? And agape love is self-giving, it's covenantal love, and it's led by wisdom and discernment, protection, and I think that's the
It's really
difference
good.
between those two. Like, even what you're talking about, like, you guys had so much wisdom, and it wasn't because of, you had this perfect past or
Yeah,
like
no.
whatever. It was like based on desire for true covenantal love, which is kind of unbreakable, but you went in with your eyes fully opened, and they say that, like, go into marriage with your eyes fully open and your eyes half shut afterwards is like this kind of
That's
the
funny.
saying. But it's really the truth, because you set yourself up, and you obviously don't know everything
No,
that's
definitely
going to
not.
happen, and the insecurities and the
Yeah.
different stuff that pops up over time. But I think if you have some of the basics, these are really good.
Actually, let's go a little bit deeper on that. Because I think one of the things that I always wanted to showcase to each kid is for the eyes wide open part. I wanted every kid to go and look at the parents and go, I want you to look at that marriage. Even if they're that child, that kid that they're interested in dating is not in an exact replica of that. It
Right.
is a model that will,
That's what they saw.
it's what they saw,
Yeah,
but it will
it's
be
true.
even in your subconscious mind.
Right.
That's a model. And good and bad, because
Mm-hmm.
every couple has good, bad, the ugly. And so I always suggest to that kid to go and look at the good, the bad, the ugly of the parents, because that is a subconscious role
Yeah.
model in their life. And so, are you okay with that? Or can you work through that? Or what would you do in that scenario? Or how can you actually illuminate that for that person you're going to be seeing?
Yeah.
Well, and be aware of it so you can have discussions about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, one thing we did in our early marriage was we talked about both of, not so much even just our parents,
I
but
think it was in our first year of marriage what we did.
yeah, it was early on. We talked about what are the things we like and don't like. It was just a conversation
Yeah.
we had.
Mhm.
About both of our parents.
And it was not
Right.
dishonoring. It was just like, these are things we want to bring with us. These
Yeah,
are things
you're
we want to
using it
leave.
as a
We
tool.
learned it later. We took this course, a marriage course, and they suggested it, and we did the
Smart.
homework. And we were like, okay, what about my parents that it's good, that we want to emulate?
Yeah.
And what are the things that are not so good, and we want to not emulate?
Mhm.
And then we did that for her parents. And I think that was so great because now, even though he was a year into marriage, we really got to see what we're creating a home, what that home, what the boundaries will look like, what's the atmosphere.
What we were
Yeah.
aiming for got clearer, I think,
It
for
did.
us.
It did.
It was like, oh, okay, we're with clarity. We're like
Right.
aiming for some of these things, even when we didn't have them all at that point. We at least had some awareness of also our own bents, maybe
Yeah.
positively and negatively too. It's like if you're going to imitate certain things subconsciously,
Yeah.
you know, then you're
Without
aware of
thinking,
what
yeah.
those could be.
No, that's really
that was-
good.
So, why don't you talk to us about the intentionality between now you're dating, you're very interested, you want to pursue marriage. What did that look like? What would you even say to someone who's okay, they've been dating for a while,
Yeah.
it's looking good.
Yeah.
What's the transition look like into marriage?
Okay, so practically for the guy, I would say obviously go talk to say this girl's like you're ready to marry her. Obviously, go talk to the dad and ask for permission. That's bottom line,
Number
common
one.
thing. But
Well, a lot of
even-
guys, a lot of people
a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that, but I just had to throw it in there. But as a couple, there's like a few ways I would say you need to actually prepare for marriage. I feel like a lot of couples don't actually think about this stuff at all. They're just like, oh, we're engaged, like da da da.
You're, like,
da.
in
They're
the
kind of
honeymoon
just floating
phase.
through. Let's
Yeah,
plan our
that's
wedding.
it.
But there's like 3 categories I think you really need to prepare: is spiritually, emotionally / physically, and then financially. So spiritually, actually, I'll just go financially first. So financially, I would actually say a lot of couples don't like combine bank accounts, and I
Yeah.
think it's like weird
It's so weird.
because then it's like, oh, this is my money, this is her money. You're still thinking as individuals,
Instead of a
and
team.
instead
well,
of a
single
team-
people.
Yeah, you're still thinking of single
Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
And so actually the first thing we did when we first got engaged, we like sat down, we're like, okay, how much is our wedding? How much do we have to pay for it? How much is our honeymoon? Let's set aside a little bit of money for our furniture or like a deposit for an apartment,
We like
something like
stopped
that.
thinking single. Like we were
Yeah.
already thinking like team. Like how can we do this
Yeah.
together?
And then what that does is when you sit down and do it together, and the guy should initiate this, is now you start thinking of your money together and you have a goal. It's like, okay, we need to save $10,000 or $20,000. Then it also hits a goal of like, okay, well, let's just both get, like, for example, with us, we both got jobs, and we were actually long distance. She was in Canada, I was in the US. And she would keep what she needed for her bills, like her gas money, her phone bill, all that stuff. And then she would just send me the rest. And then I would take from my check and put it in the savings account. And that was our honeymoon wedding fund.
Yeah.
And I would say that's actually a good thing to do to align you guys and start thinking as a team.
Yeah.
Because if you start thinking as a team, then you start acting like a team. And it's not like, oh, this is my money.
Right.
And like, and then it also erases a lot of fights in the future.
Mhm.
Because there's a whole rabbit hole with money, but I'll go to the
But
next
it's actually
one.
a good point.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
money, the Bible says that, where your treasure is, there your heart is also.
Yeah.
So it's actually becoming one.
Right.
And you're already looking as one in your heart. Besides, you don't want to play house. You want to create a house. You want to
Yeah.
create a home.
Yeah.
And it does begin with money. And so I think I still see couples without having one bank account. They're
well,
not
even couples hide money. Like some couples,
Yep.
like I heard of this a lot. Like, oh, she's going to spend all this money, so I'm going to hide this money in this account. Or
Right.
he's going to, whatever, not give me what I need, so I'm going to hide this money. And it's like that's a representation of like actually your heart.
you don't
True.
trust her or you don't trust him.
Yeah.
You're gonna hide. You're gonna, I've heard it. Like wives spend the money. Like don't tell your dad.
No, 100%.
What?
Yeah.
So weird.
That is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So this cannot be. This is so
Yeah.
wrong.
And
Yeah.
some people do it to avoid a fight or a hard conversation,
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just much better to just come into agreement like at the beginning of a week or
Yeah,
month
and have
be like,
everything open. Just open it up.
So I didn't want to overpass that because actually it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
I
Yeah,
agree.
money's
Money
a
thing
big
is
well,
a
it
big
kind of
deal.
represents the rest of your unity in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. And you
Yeah.
can become selfish with it too. Like I could have we were long distance. I could have just kept all the money and sent him $50, but that's selfish. Like we're a team, so I think just thinking team, this is gonna help us in the long long run, so might as well be a team now.
Well, and actually, because COVID, we had to pay for
Yeah.
2 honeymoons up front. Because our first honeymoon, we
Oh,
booked it.
that's so
COVID
bad.
wedding.
We booked it. COVID happened, and so then they canceled our
Mhm.
thing, obviously, because there's no. It was like
Give
a
you the money
cruise.
back?
A year later.
Yeah,
So then we had to come up with like another $3,000 or $5,000 for another
It's a lot.
honeymoon on the spot. And if we hadn't had a plan beforehand, we would have been cooked. We'd been just chilling in
But
Kansas
Michael,
City.
you love to travel, so you made that.
Oh,
yeah,
it
you
happened.
made it happen.
And actually, planning honeymoons is like my favorite thing. So I was like, oh, I get to plan another one. Let's go.
It's kind of fun.
Okay,
Uh,
so what is the second thing?
Okay, second thing would be spiritually. So spiritually, I would actually find a couple that you look up to in their walk with the Lord, as a marriage, how they parent their kids, all that kind of stuff. And I would just ask them to mentor you guys during your dating, engagement, and early marriage season. And that would be the easiest way I could think, because they're already going to have experienced what you experienced. They've already seen all the issues. They've already seen the obstacles you're going to go through, and they can give you good advice to your specific scenarios.
Yeah.
Spiritually, that would be the main one I would say. I don't know if you guys have more for spiritually.
Yeah, I think finding a mentor would be. I mean, we suggest it all the time to
Yeah.
find someone that you can emulate a relationship.
And not just, and tell them all the junk and give
Yeah.
them
Yeah, not
veto
just the good
power.
stuff.
Yeah, because a lot of people want mentors that just go for coffee with them and tell them how awesome they
It's
are.
true.
Yeah.
Girls want to
Then-
go with the girls, and sometimes probably just use it as a gossip fest.
Yeah.
Not
true.
for solutions, not for veto power,
Right.
not for actually learning what I am doing in
and
this
not for
relationship.
conviction. And
It's
all
just to blame what the other person's doing, the inadequacies, weaknesses, issues, instead of, hey, this is where I'm at in my
that.
relationship.
Yeah.
This is how this relationship is going. I think it should be couples with couples,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
not this separation stuff. So clarifying the mentorship side is couples to couples
Yeah.
to learn and glean from.
Yes.
Well, and when you go in with a couple, if you're the couple that is going to learn, be open and transparent about
Mhm.
where you're at and your struggles. Because the more stuff that you can figure out on the front end, the less stuff you're carrying into your marriage.
Yeah.
100%.
So use all of it as an opportunity to have pain now so that you can have joy later.
Yeah.
It's just really wise, and thinking about that when you're asking questions and not just assuming. Like, we had one couple who told us they're engaged. They're like, we're never going to fight. We're never. Everyone
That's
says,
so
It
funny.
was so funny.
everyone says they fight, but not us. And they look at each other. We're not.
We're different.
We're
We have a different kind of love.
And they laugh about it. They're like 15 years into marriage now, and they laugh so hard, right?
That's
It's
so
like
funny.
how crazy we were, but that's how that kind of love feels, right?
Yeah.
It's like an infatuation that turns into a covenant love in
Yeah.
that case, but it's like feels so euphoric that you just
Yeah.
think this could never be us.
And you're not like thinking anything through actually, like,
No.
oh, what are my flaws? Like, I'm not perfect, I'm a sinner. Like,
Oh, 100%.
that's so funny.
Okay, so you got one,
Yeah. So we got
money,
spiritually,
two spiritually.
financially, and then third would be like emotionally / like physically. So like I'll just talk to the guys. Hannah can do the girls in a bit, but for the guys, I feel like what I've seen through the years, especially with this upcoming generation, I feel like the guys think they're just gonna get married, and then it's like, oh, now I just have like a wife. Like it's like the same. Like your life is the same. You're just adding on a wife, but it's like no. Now you're like a leader of like a family. So once you think of it like that, you stop kind of thinking like a boy, like an individual guy, and you start thinking like, oh, I'm like now I have to, like, I don't know how you explain that, but you're thinking now as a man. Like it's like now I'm leading, now I have the responsibility, now
More
I'm the
weight,
one who
yeah.
has
Yeah.
to do the sacrifices, and you start changing even your emotional and mentality of like, oh, it's like now I have to do this, and this, so then our family can be successful. Or it's like maybe I have to do this sacrifice so we can do this. And I would say that would be the biggest thing, especially if you're like a really young guy and you're going into marriage. It's like, okay, how can I become a better man so then my family can succeed and I can lead this family well? Like
Yeah.
that would be the main thing I would say as a guy. You got to switch. Now it's like you're leading this family. How can I do it the best I can?
Yeah.
And that's the main thing I would say for guys.
I say for girls, I mean, the Bible talks about it. You're leaving your family, you're clinging to your husband. And I feel like girls like read that, but they don't actually apply it to their life. And like you're fully leaving your family. Like you're not under them anymore. And so I've seen it in like families where like girls specifically are like FaceTiming their mom like every day, telling her all this stuff that's happening, everything. And I mean, I was that girl. I did that. And then I think Michael, like someone probably said it to me, like, hey, like you should be bringing that stuff to Michael. I was like, oh, honestly, that's so true. Like, you're right. And I think something clicked in my head and I was like, okay, I'm going to bring everything to Michael because I'm under him. I'm not under my parents anymore. And also, it's honoring to your husband for them to be able to be the one to kind of like help you through stuff. And obviously the Lord too. But I really think like that part of it's super important. And then just being submissive. I feel like a lot of women like struggle with it. I was talking to Michael about it earlier and I was like, it wasn't like a really hard thing for me because I just like wanted it so bad. I was like, I don't want to be independent. Like I want to be under you. But I do feel like a lot of girls struggle with it and just like, it's all humility, I think, just being like, okay, I'm bowing low. Like, I trust him. I trust him. I chose him for a reason. He has good character. He is the husband that, like, even when he's not doing great, I'm like, I'm going to submit under you because I trust you and I trust the Lord ultimately. And so I think that's a huge thing too, just being willing to submit and then obviously like bringing stuff to your husband first, not your mom. And you're not FaceTiming her every day. You're like, he's my number
Or
one.
like sisters, or like
Yeah, or your sisters, anyone.
best friends. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive this. Let's go a little bit deeper.
Wait, there's one more thing I
Okay.
wanted to add with the like emotional preparation part
Yeah.
with the guy. You need to actually be like spending time with God alone and asking him what's the direction I should be leading this family and what's the direction, like you need to be filled yourself before you can even like pour out or lead. Otherwise
Yeah,
you'll just be
that's
dry
scary.
and you won't have anything.
Yeah, and then what happens is you get spiritually lazy, and then the wife starts getting annoyed, and she starts leading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I would love to just a little bit dive in, and not necessarily from personal experience, mostly because what we started noticing is the control that parents can have on their kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are deciding things, but the parents are kind of clueless of your decisions, of where you're going, what you're desiring. You're making a whole new journey that is not connected to the parents.
Yeah.
And I have seen this a big struggle where in-laws want to get involved. So one of the things I think of is you guys are getting married, or that couple is getting married. Even if it's my kid, they're not adding to my life, meaning they're actually starting their whole new family line. We are now becoming the extended family. And parents don't like to hear that. And even in the wedding ceremonies, I hear it all the time, like, welcome to the family. What? That's not biblical. You're not, yes, of course they're welcoming. They're an extended part of our family. That's a new daughter-in-law. That's a new son-in-law. But it's actually unhealthy. I've seen this. I think the guy, that husband, new husband, has to start creating boundaries of how much your conversation is going to the in-laws.
Yeah.
How much are you allowing them to speak into your new marriage? What are you deciding to? Where are you deciding to live? What are you deciding to do for a living? What church you're going to attend? I mean, sounds dumb, but it actually has a lot of precedence.
Yeah.
It has a lot of value into what you're going to do. Is it your family or is it my family? Is it your family that you're starting brand new? Or am I going to, as the in-laws, going to be able to speak into your life, into your marriage, into how you're spending your money, into the things you're going to be doing with your time and your energy? I find a lot of control that seeps in there.
Yeah.
And I do think the protection mechanism is how much are you spending time talking to them and letting them into your private life?
Yeah.
So what would you guys say to even some of those things? Or even you, Chris, you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I would even say this kind of applies to talking to anyone, not just in-laws, but like you're almost like a shield for your spouse.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not gonna tear down Hannah in this area of her life publicly to anyone. in-laws or
Especially
Public.
in-laws, but definitely not friends either.
yeah, definitely
No.
not friends either. But I would just say not publicly shaming her or
Yeah.
like saying anything negative about her in terms of character or what she's doing. Obviously, if there's something like more intense, like moral failure, like maybe you go see someone and you ask for advice, but that's very different than just like spewing gossip on someone. That's
Yeah.
totally different. But that would be, I would say, is like a huge one. If you're already being a shield for that person, it's like, oh, this is like our team. Then you're gonna have the person's back, and you're not gonna allow a lot of that stuff to
Well, if
even
you think
have
about
control.
it, you're one flesh. And so
Yeah.
when you do that, you're actually harming yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're exposing that other person to people that, you know, first of all, even especially if they don't know, that's another thing that's really, really,
If it's like you both came into agreement.
Yeah.
it's just really like harmful because it's one-sided. It gives people a certain
Yeah.
perspective,
So true.
particularly if it's like your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
On top of it, they're going to
100%.
be like on your side usually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's an element of one flesh that is painful when it comes together.
Yeah.
It means that you're doing the hard work to actually be one.
Yeah.
And some of it is leaving some of those things behind. Because, I mean, girls are used to, especially, and I see girls do it all the time, we're used to in our friendships and everything processing.
It's true. It's definitely an
You know,
excuse
it's like
for
I'm
gossip.
processing or
Yeah.
I'm asking for prayer. And so I'm always asking for prayer processing,
Every
like
time.
for every little thing that is going on in my
Yeah.
day, every
Mhm.
emotion up and down. And I think there's a place for that. But what's hard about it is when that becomes the thing that you go to instead of God,
Yeah.
you start to use that as your crutch instead of going to the Lord for healing and guidance. And I think for me, I used to do a lot of that. Like before we got married, I would talk to my sisters all the time, and so I still communicate with them, but there's just certain things I don't. And I go to God with the more painful things typically. And if I need outside help, I'll do it with not an emotional response to it. It's more like a decision, like, okay, this area needs help or this area needs outside input.
Right.
But it's not just because emotionally that day I'm struggling.
You're having a bad day.
Yeah. And it's like, or I've been struggling for weeks and now I'm just blowing up and, oh, you're the person in front of me. I'm having a meltdown.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to do that when it comes to my marriage because
it's really good.
It's a habit I think we create. And if you create it a lot in the single years, you'll bring that into marriage probably inevitably unless you consciously change it. So yeah, but I wanted to, do you have anything to add to that?
No, go for it.
So just before we end, because I know we're kind of wrapping up, I wanted to hear what would be from each of you one green flag and one red flag for
what?
somebody you're choosing
For
and
dating.
who you're looking for. No, and when you're looking for a spouse or it's a date. I mean, the point of dating is to find a spouse.
So each of you say one green
flag
and
a
one
red
red.
flag.
yeah, I would just like to hear one
Yeah,
green
that's
flag, one red flag for that you would
The
look
red
for.
flag is the harder part I'm thinking of. I would say I'll probably just green flag would be teachability and humility. That's like I think a huge green flag. But then red flag, oh, that's tough. I'd probably just say if they're not teachable. Like,
The opposite of what you
if you're not teachable and
This is like
you're
all
like
my book heard about.
super stubborn.
Just be teachable.
Well, another one I could throw in there is like another. I remember always talking about. I was like, man, I just don't want a high maintenance.
Yeah, you did always say that.
I don't want a high maintenance woman. Like
Yeah, the drama.
That
yeah,
is
like
she
true.
brings up
drama and all that
You
stuff.
said that a lot.
drives me crazy. Like I just want like someone who's chill and always nice and stuff. Slow
Just
maintenance.
a good time.
Oh yeah,
I remember you saying to me once, and maybe this is a red flag I can remind you of. You used to say, I don't want to drag her along spiritually.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's
right, you
good. Yeah.
You want her to sharpen you just like you sharpen her.
That is
Remember you
good.
saying that.
that's a good one.
Okay, what about you, Hannah?
Okay, I think green flag, I mean, I could say a lot of things, but I think the number one would just be in a man, someone that like really obeys the Lord and is like constantly like turning towards him. I think someone that's like not, a lot of people are like taken down when they're like go through something hard, but I wanted someone that was steady and someone that was like consistently like no matter what, I'm choosing the Lord. And Michael definitely is like that. And then a red flag, I would say, just a man that's not like manly. Like, I think just like be a man. I think so many men are kind of like,
Feminine.
yeah, feminine or like,
Okay, well, break that down.
like really emotional.
Kind of open
or,
up
like,
the doorway.
like
there.
I don't want to have to like I want to be there for you, but also like I don't want to have to be like leading you, like going through all the emotions with you. You know, it's like I want you to like pull me up. I can't be like leading you in that. So I feel like just like a man that's really manly, and it's actually hard to find. It's hard to find. There's not that many, and so I feel like I'm really lucky.
But even what you were saying before with like the going, like the order should be go to God and then go to
Yeah.
your spouse after you've already
true.
processed with God. And I feel like even with what you're saying, that would be the solution too.
But maybe
Yeah,
we'll have to do another
definitely.
podcast on what masculinity is.
Yeah.
True.
Maybe even from a girl's point of view, not just from a man's point of view.
Because I think
true.
women have actually hindered masculinity with
No,
feminism.
definitely.
We've emasculated men and called
Mhm.
it toxic masculinity, right? And
Yeah.
even though I do think there's toxic femininity too, but that's another
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's toxic everything.
Yeah, but yeah, I think a lot of men think that they're supposed to be more fragile and beta and all
Yeah.
that stuff because that's what women want because
It's
they've
true.
gotten into their
Well,
masculine.
they want another girlfriend instead of a man.
Yeah, I don't want another girlfriend.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Well, why don't we close it up with praying over
Yeah.
couples, but specifically the dating ones. They're
Yeah.
dating, they're thinking about marriage, and
Or those who desire to get married.
yeah. Why don't you guys jump in on praying for couples?
Yeah. God, I pray for all the couples listening to this episode, God. I just pray that you just give them the spirit of wisdom and revelation. I pray that you'd even just give them direction, put the right people around them that will speak into their lives. And I pray that you'd even just give them practical steps, like give them God-given ideas of what to do in their relationships. Point out things that they want in a spouse or a future spouse, God, and point out areas that they can grow with one another if they're already married, God. And I pray that you'd even just bring grace, humility, teachability in all the areas of relationships, whether it's dating, engagement, or married, God. And yeah, in Jesus' name.
Yes, God, we just thank you for all the dating couples right now, Lord, and anyone that's watching this, God, I pray that you would just open up their eyes, God, to just see even themselves right, God, that they would see the areas that they need to grow in instead of pointing out the flaws in others, God, but that they would see truly what they need to work on, God, and that would be their mission in this season to really work through the things that are hard, work through the things that are tough, God. I ask that you would just, give them a spirit of wisdom and revelation, that they would see rightly and that they would be able to move through these things and get the healing that they need and not bring all that into marriage, God, and be able to be fully ready to be married in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now, if you guys like this content, do us a favor, share it with somebody else. And that's all we got for now. Thanks, guys.